identifying, assessing, and controlling risk. Risk management, it is the process of identifying, assessing, and controlling threats to an organization, capital, and earning. And we have also discussed in detail what is capital and what is earning of a company. Another point, in case of meaning, risk can be defined as the chance of loss or an unfavorable outcome associated with an action. And then these are the keywords in this definition. Keywords are identifying, identification, then assessing and controlling. And I think we have discussed about the identification also. Let me share with you that slide, identification. Identification, it is nothing but identification, which is risk, is to identify potential risk. What is the potential risk which is going to happen? That we have to identify. Risks are about events that, when triggered, will cause a problem. Whenever a risk happens, risk comes to the organization or individual, then problem creates and will cause the problems. So the cause is problem. Risk identification requires knowledge of the organization. If you remember, yesterday I told that whenever you join any organization after completion of your MBA, you must have thorough knowledge of your organization. They are giving 1 day, 2 day induction program. They conduct 1 day or 2 day induction program so that new employee will come to know most of the things of new organization. And suppose if such induction program, if not conducted by organization, then what are the ways and means to collect the information about organization? Can you tell me what are the ways and means? Suppose after MBA, if you are joining any organization and that organization is not conducting any induction program, they are not giving any training, but you want to know the information about company. So how you are going to collect that information? Can you answer me? What are the ways and means? Yes, please. Can you hear me? Hello? Am I audible? What are the ways and means? Don't you get information through a company website? If you open website of company, don't you get information about company? Hello? You will get or not? Hello? Hello? I hope that I am audible to you. Am I audible? So don't you think that if you read your company website, you will get information? Is it possible or not? Yes, it is possible. So that knowledge of company can be obtained through website, or maybe those who have worked with that organization. There you can have discussion and you can get the information about that company. In identification, you have to identify in which market the company is operating their business. What are the legal, social, economic, political, and climatic environment of that particular area that can be identified, so that you will come to know about potential risk. You will come to know about potential risk. So this was our identification. Another point, that is assessing. Once risks have been identified, they must then be assessed as to their potential severity of loss and to the probability of occurrences. These quantities can be either simple to measure in the case of the value of lost building. So these quantities can be either simple to measure in case of the value of lost building. So the probability of occurrence, how many times that risk will happen. So with the help of statistics tool, we can know the occurrences, probability of occurrences that can be known. So there are many tools available nowadays because of this technology. There are software available. In that software, if you feed that information, that software will give you the chances of risk and that how many times it will happen. That probability can be given through the software. So this is about the assessing. Then another third point in the definition, that is controlling. Once the risk is evaluated, it has to be controlled. Now already you are aware about the risk. Now after knowing the risk, what you will do? Naturally you will control the risk. Otherwise, once you identify the risk, once you assess the risk, and if you are not controlling, then what is the use of that efforts? So that efforts will be wasted. So in order to use your efforts, you are supposed to control the risk. So in the case of worker working under the machine that will fall any moment on top of him, risk control implies primarily moving the worker from under them. Now this is why just example I have given. Now suppose in your company, if workers are working and above there, if there is a heavy machine, so heavy machine, there are chances that heavy machine may fall down, and if it is fall down, what will happen? The worker who is working below that machine, he may injure, or sometimes he may die also. Not only injury, but he may die also. And if such thing happens, then the relative of that worker will sue company in the court. So they will file the complaint against company, and company will have to pay heavy compensation to their family member. So in order to avoid this situation, if you are aware that this may happen, so what you have to do? Either you move your machine or you move your worker. If it is not possible, machine movement, if it is not possible, but worker can be moved from that place. You can instruct that worker, don't work over there. Your place is here. You have to work from here and not from there. So that way, the risk can be controlled. Now, next point is risk management approaches and method. Risk management approaches and method. So basically, these approaches and methods are four. Avoidance. The word itself indicates the meaning, that is avoidance. Then loss prevention. We know that prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. So that kind of trick can be utilized in risk management. Prevention. It is said that there is a saying in English that stitch in one time, save 9 times. stitch in one time, save 9 times. That is the phrase in English. What is the meaning of this? Stitch in one time, saves 9 times. Have you heard this phrase? Hello? Have you heard this phrase? Stitch in time, save 9 times. Stitch in one time, stitch. Stitching means ज्याला मराठीत म्हणतो ना आपण शिवणे, टाका घालणे, शिवणे. स्टिच इन वन टाइम सेव्स 9 टाइम. काय अर्थ याचा होतो? एनीबडी? हॅलो, कॅन यू हिअर मी? स्टिच इन वन टाइम सेव्स 9 टाइम. याचा अर्थ काय होतो? Anybody knows the meaning? नहीं माहित? Stitch in one time saves 9 times. Means if you pay attention at a proper time, then further loss can be avoided. That is known as loss prevention. Now, for example, nowadays, even last 2 years, we have been suffering from this coronavirus, and again there is a threat that corona is spreading day by day. Again, cases are being increased. Nowadays, cases are increasing in Maharashtra, in Pune. Hello? Corona cases are increasing or not? What is your observation? Nowadays, again, corona cases are increasing, no? Hello? 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 Now, from last 2-3 days, there are news in the newspaper as well as in television that slowly corona cases are increasing in Maharashtra, particularly in Pune and Mumbai. So again, they have started, means government is urging people that wear masks. To the extent possible, you have to use mask. So using mask, it is nothing but the prevention from coronavirus. We can prevent. There is no as such guarantee that in spite of wearing mask also, some people, they are affected with corona. That's a different story. But medical science says that if you use sanitization, if you do sanitization and if you use mask, you can prevent corona. So just I'm giving the example, loss prevention. Prevention means we are taking utmost care, like as I give the example. Then loss reduction. What is loss reduction? Now, if you are aware that if you follow this step, then there will be loss of company. And if you go for this another system, there will be minimum loss. So you will go for second option and not for the first option. Because if you go to the first option, there will be huge loss for company. So if you are aware, in a second option, there is a loss, but that is a minimum loss. So that is nothing but the loss reduction. We are reducing the loss. We are reducing the loss. So loss reduction. So this is also the approach and method of risk management. Loss reduction. Another point is separation. Separation means if you identify there is a risk, then that risk has to be detached from that place. It has to be separated. And if you are successful in separating risk from that place, then definitely risk can be avoided. So these are the approaches and methods of risk management: avoidance, loss prevention, loss reduction, and separation. Now, from the examination point of view, Savitribai Phule Pune University, there may be question that discuss the risk management approaches and method. So please do remember these four methods: avoidance, loss prevention, loss reduction, and separation. And whatever example I have shared with you, if possible, you may quote this example, or if you feel your example are also relevant to that area, that is also appreciated. You can quote your own example also. So again, I repeat, there are four approaches and methods of risk management: avoidance, loss prevention, loss reduction, and separation. And if you are asked question in examination that explain risk management approaches and method with appropriate example, if such question is asked, you have to write this particular answer. Got it? Understood? Hello? Understood? Any doubt? Any doubt, please? Any doubt?
Separation of the repeat cycle, sir, please.
Any query, please, about these approaches and methods of risk management? Yes? किसी को कुछ डाउट है क्या? कुछ पूछना है आपको? Do you want further clarification or explanation on this point? Please prepare this from the examination point of view. Okay, separation. Now I got the message that separation. Now let me explain the separation. This is one of the approach for risk management, separation. Now separation is what? Suppose if you identified risk, that particular risk may happen at that particular location. Now what you have to do? From that location and risk should be separated. Totally it should be separated, so that loss can be avoided. That is known as separation. And if you are keeping all together, suppose risk and that location both are at a same place, then what will happen? There are chances for loss. Now let me give the example of, say, firecracker company. Firecrackers म्हणजे फटाके जे आपण दिवाळीत फोडतो ना, फटाके बनवायची कंपनी. So we all are aware that this is very sensitive and explosive material is there. Explosive material is being used for manufacturing of firecrackers. So what they do, whatever explosive things are there, like say petrol, diesel, or maybe matchbox, kadipeti matchbox, they never keep such things in a firecrackers factory premises. These all things are being moved in another place. They are being separated, because if you keep these things by mistake, suppose if you are keeping petrol over there or maybe matchbox, and if something goes wrong, then what will happen? Then fire may take place, and then that will be huge loss of human as well as material. So what a firecracker company do? Whatever explosive things are there, those explosive things are being separated from the factory premises. That is known as separation. Now understood separation? Understood what is separation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, next slide. Can you see this slide? Risk management process. Now, what is the process of risk management? As we have learned in definition, identify, analyze, and evaluate. Now, what is identify? Identify that the business is exposed to in its operating environment. In which environment the business is being operated, that has to be exposed. Identify that the business is exposed to its operating environment. Then once you identify this operating environment, say for example, as I give the example of firecrackers making company, fatake bananari company. If you are having that company location where there is a hot temperature, 45-50 degree. So temperature is very hot. So you are aware that there is a high amount of temperature and you are manufacturing firecrackers. So there are chances that fire may take place. So what you are supposed to do? Such things you have to identify. That what is the location, what is your production. If that production is totally different or against to that environment, then we have to take utmost care. Another example, say in our India, there are some locations where there is a minimum temperature, like say Himachal Pradesh, Kashmir. These are the places where there is a minimum temperature, like 4 degree, 3 degree. Now in this temperature, if you are manufacturing sugar, so generally sugar factories, they require a humid temperature, hot temperature. Now if you are opening this kind of manufacturing units in a cool places, then the amount of quality may not be received to your sugar. So here identify that the business is exposed to its operating environment. Another process, analyze. Now what is to be analyzed? The scope of the risk must be determined. What is the scope of the risk? Now suppose if fire is there, if fire take place, so what is the scope of this risk? So the entire material can be burned out, can be burned. Then whatever number of employees, laborers are working in that location, they may also get injury. Sometimes they may die also. So this is the scope of the particular risk. Material, human beings, loss to the company. So that scope has to be analyzed. And why it has to be analyzed? So that you will come to know the total loss to the company, total loss. And if total loss, if it is used, then top management, definitely they will be serious and they will take utmost precaution while running such unit. So this was about analyze. Another point is evaluation. Now evaluation may be qualitative or may be quantitative. Qualitative is what? Like say, if such a risk, if it is not controlled by company, and if it is known to your customer and your employees, then what will happen? Your customer may not come to your company place location because they know that this company is having a particular risk, and if you go there, if something goes wrong, we may face some consequences. Then quantitative, it is in regards to the physical things, maybe material, maybe your infrastructure, material infrastructure, maybe burned, maybe lost. So that evaluation will have to be done. So this was about risk management process. So again, from the examination point of view, there might be a short note that note on risk management process. So the process you will have to show this kind of, say, not exactly this kind of diagram, but on your own you can present this information through diagram. Show these 3 steps, 3 phases. You have to indicate these 3 phases and give the explanation about these phases. The keywords are identify, analyze, and evaluate. Now, what is identify? Identify the business exposed to the operating environment. What is analysis? Analysis means the scope of risk has to be analyzed. And then evaluate. Evaluate it is in terms of 2, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative evaluation as well as quantitative evaluation. Qualitative, it is regarding to the human being, like customer, employees, they are qualitative. And quantitative, it is in respect of material and infrastructure. So these points you are supposed to mention in evaluation. Understood? Have you understood this? Hello? Have you understood risk management process? Yes, please. Have you understood? Hello? Okay. Let me take you to the next slide now. About the risk management process. After understanding, identify, analyze, and evaluate. The 4th step or 4th phase is treat. Now, what is treat? Treat is every risk needs to be eliminated or contained as much as possible. So, what treatment you are given to the risk? Now, treatment is what? Elimination of risk. That risk has to be removed. That is nothing but the treatment which we are giving. Or if elimination is not possible, removal if it is not possible, then you have to control that risk. So this way we are treating to the risk. After treatment, then monitor. Market risk and environmental risk are just 2 examples of risks that always need to be monitored. As a manager, you have to monitor the market risk. Now in market, who are the competitors for your product, and then what is their strategy of your competitors. Always you have to keep eye on your competitors so that you will be cautious about your company. Then environmental risk. Environmental risk, though it is from the nature, but still you have to monitor that environmental risk. Now, say for example, flood or cyclone. These are some example of environmental risk. Now, if you have open company near or on a coastal area, Samudra Kinari, on a coastal area, so you are aware that your company, you are operating close to the sea, coastal area. So anytime if cyclone comes in a sea, so your company may face risk. So you have to monitor. You have to get the information from weather department, Havaman Khate. Time to time you have to collect that information, so that in advance you will come to know that maybe in next 2 days cyclone may happen, and if there is a signal of cyclone, so you can give instructions to your employees, as well as you can have safekeeping of your goods and raw material. So monitoring, it is always with market risk and environmental risk. Market risk, as I give the example of, that is competitor. You have to observe your competitor. What are their plans? How they are selling their product? What are their strategies? See, no competitor will tell you ready-made information. You have to spy that information. You have to spy information. Then only you will come to know the strategy of your competitor. कोणी competitor तुम्हाला असं स्वतःहून सांगणार नाही की these are my plan. Why they will tell you their plans? But there are some ways you have to find out their plans. So for that purpose, you have to have your team. That team will have interaction with outside world, and through that interaction, they will collect the market risk. That okay, in future this may happen, or the competitors are having this kind of policy about pricing policy, or maybe about quality. So you should have continuous monitoring in regards to the market risk and environmental risk. There has to be continuous monitoring. Now, once you identify, you evaluate your risk, then you have identification, analyze, evaluate, treat and monitor, then review. The last point is review. Now, what is this review? Monitoring risk also allows your business to ensure continuity. If you monitor risk, that monitoring risk will allow your business to ensure continuity. Means you have great chances to continue in the future time, because already you know what are the risks of your business, and you are controlling such risks. So naturally, your company will have good days in future. Company will not be closed in a shorter time. It will have a longer life. So again, I am showing you this particular slide, risk management process. Risk management process, there are 6 phases, 6 steps. We can say steps or phases: identify, analyze, evaluate, treat, monitor, and review. So this was about risk management process. From unit 1, there might be a general question about risk management, like say, discuss the approaches and methods of risk management, or explain the risk management process. So if you are asked process, if you are asked method, remember the 4 methods. That is separation, avoidance, loss prevention, loss reduction. Just now we have discussed. Do you remember? We have discussed approaches and methods of risk management, avoidance, loss prevention, loss reduction. आठवत है ना? And if you are asked risk management process, the answer for risk management process starts from this slide. There are 6 steps: identify, analyze, evaluate, then treat, monitor, and review. So this was about the risk management process. Shall I go to the next slide? Yes, please. Shall I go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, this is the last point of unit number 1. Risk management framework. Now, in this framework, I have mentioned total 5 steps in this framework. Now, number 1, select security control. Select security control. Now, security control in regards to the finance. What are the security control? Budget, fund flow statement, cash flow statement. These are the security control. If you prepare budget and if you know the actual expenses of company, so actual expenses will compare with the budgeted figure. Now suppose if budget is say for 1000 for a material 1000 and your actual if it is say 1500, so naturally you will ask to your managers that why there is extra 500 rupees, and how top management will ask this on the basis of this security control. So in finance, budget is one of the security control. Then standard costing. This is also another tool for controlling finance. Standard costing. Now in regards to the HR. Now you want to control your personnel, HR. What are the ways and means? Anyone? Can you give me the example? Suppose if you are owner of company and you want to control your employees. Are you going to stand in front of your employees for all 24 hours? Is it possible for you if you are owner of company? Can you stand 24 hours in a company, day and night? Suppose if there are 3 shifts in your company, 8 hours, 1 shift. So all 24 hours, can owner stand over there? Is it possible? Hello? Is it possible for owner? Is it possible? Hello? It is not possible. So what organization does? They install CCTV cameras, CCTV, and through CCTV, they observe the movement of their employees. And if something goes wrong, that recorded clip can be observed by top management. Again, they can replay that recorded clip, and then they will find out the culprit for that particular loss. So this is about to minimize the risk. Select security control. What kind of security control you are taking? That is also very important. Then implement security control. Once you select security control, as I will give the 2 examples, CCTV and standard costing, budget, fund flow. If these are the security control. Now, once you identify security control, the next step is implement that security control. Implementation. Now, CCTV camera can be installed. In case of finance, you have to have a proper budget. Then not only budget, but realistic budget. Sometimes what happens? Sometimes unnecessary, the fake budgets are being prepared. So such budgets will not help you. You have to be very realistic with the budget. You have to have proper study, and then realistic budget can be prepared. With this realistic budget, actual figure will be compared, and then that will give you the correct information. And if you are not serious about budget, then maybe below budget or maybe over budget figures will appear, and then you will be confused as a top management. If you are a part of top management will be confused. So to avoid the confusion, one should have realistic budget in real ground. Budget has to be prepared. Now, once you implement the security controls, next step is assess. You have to have the assessment of that security control. Now, take an example of CCTV camera. Now, in your company offices, you have installed CCTV camera. So maybe every after 2 or 3 days, some random check. I'm not saying detailed checking, but some random check can be tested. Random check, and through this random check, if you come to know that something is happening fishy in our organization, then immediately you will control that particular situation. So assessments of security control, whether it is working properly or not, that has to be assessed. Sometimes what happens, we install security control, but we never check, we never bother to have a review of the security control. And if something goes wrong, then we come to know, this happened because we never had assessment of the security control. We never tested. So testing has to be done. Now, let me give the example. Nowadays, electric vehicles are coming in the market, two-wheeler and four-wheeler electric vehicles. Now, there was a rumor in the market that all of a sudden, this electric vehicle gets set fire. So that was a rumor. Now, suppose if you are a customer of that particular vehicle, maybe two-wheeler or four-wheeler, so naturally you will be afraid to buy this product. Then you will see the safety features which are being implemented by that particular company, and then you will verify from the expert whether this electric vehicle is safe or it is not safe. If it is not safe, definitely you will not buy. But if it is safe, then how it is safe, that features you have to understand from the technical point of view. And if you are not technical expert, consult some technical person and get the information. Nowadays there are YouTube, there are websites, there are some experts who are giving paid services. So such things can be identified. And then number 5, authorize information system. Many times it happens with technology. Many people, they use technology, but that technology is not authorized. Means they are not having license for use of that technology. So such unauthorized software, unauthorized system, if you are using, and if you are caught by government authority, then your company will be penalized. They will be charged fine. Government will charge fine. So ensure that you are using authorized information system. Now it happens with technology, as I told you about software also. Now big companies like say IT companies, whatever software they use, that is being licensed software. So such IT companies, they pay heavy license fee to the manufacturer of that software. Say for example, Windows software, whatever operating system they are using, all operating system, all softwares are being licensed. But if you visit small shops or small establishment, these people are not bothered about licensed software. Why they are not bothered? Because if you go for licensed software copy, it is costlier, it is expensive one. So people go for duplicate software. They copy software and they install into their system. So such copy software may create some problem in your system. So somebody may hack your information. Nowadays there are hackers. Do you know about hackers? Hello? Have you heard hackers?
Yes, sir.
What they do, hackers? They literally hack your system. Your password, your important information is being stolen from your system.
Banking
And
information.
yes, it happens in banking, insurance company. So they literally steal your information from the system and they create problem. Control this situation. Always this company, they uses software licenses. As I told you, small establishment least bothered. So they are using, if you are using with company framework. Now, before we close today's session, if you are having any doubt or explanation, you are welcome. Otherwise, we will end the session. So this was about unit number 1. Now we are done with unit number 1. Next session we will start unit number 2. But before we complete unit number 1, quickly I will share with you what we are learning in risk management unit number 1. We have learned meaning, concept, type, and its impact. Now this is the meaning of risk management. Risk management, it is the process of identifying, assessing, and controlling threats to an organization, capital, and earning. Now, the keyword of this definition, that is identification, that we have learned, then assessing, and then controlling. So this point we have discussed. Now, today also we have discussed the risk management approaches and methods. As I told you, from the examination point of view, if you are asked, explain the risk management process with appropriate example. So please do remember these 4 approaches: avoidance, loss prevention, loss reduction, and separation. And whatever examples I have given to you, or if you are having your own example, but it should be relevant example, you can quote in your explanation. So this was about risk management approaches. Then we discussed about the process. So process, there are 6 points. Number 1, identify. Number 2, analyze. Number 3, evaluate. Then number 4, treat. Number 5, monitor. And number 6, review. So these are the 6 steps which comes under the risk management process. Then at the end of session, we discuss risk management framework. Just now we have discussed, there are 5 points in risk management process. You need to mention in your answer. So this was about unit number 1. So before we close today's session of unit 1, in case if you have any doubt, you are free to ask. Otherwise, we will end the today's session. Let me make it this bigger one so that you can easily see this particular slide. Risk management framework. Now here there are 5 points: select security control, implement, then assessment and authorization. Authorize information system, as I give the example of that license software, license copy we should have. Without license may create some problem, and then this becomes opportunity for the hackers. Hacker may steal information from your site, from your system, and then it will be a loss to the company. So always one should be careful while using any kind of technology, whether it is computer technology or automation. Many company they uses robo in their company. Now, for example, Volkswagen company, they have got unit in Pune. If you visit that Volkswagen company, you will see that in most of the division of Volkswagen, they have installed robo. So they do their work through the machine man. Human beings are there, but along with the human being, they are also using robots in their factory premises. Robots are there, but such robots, whatever system they are using, that robot, it should be authenticated. It should be genuine. If it is not genuine, then it may create problem. So this was about unit number 1. If you are not having doubt, let's close for the today's session. Thank you all. We will meet in the next session. Bye. Good night.